Yo, welcome in everybody. My name is SweetPhil, and recently here on my live streams, I'm using the Zerker Barb. More specifically here, I'm farming the pit, so this would be a pit Zerker. Now you can use this in a few different areas, but this is a very specific style of farming, which you're hunting the rarest uniques in the entire game. So generally, this is a player's 1 difficulty build, and you actually don't take out a ton of monsters. You just actually snipe particular individual monsters that you know can drop the items that you're hoping to get. So in order to start off this particular one, we're like normal going to jump into the stats page. So this is very reminiscent of a ton of builds in Diablo 2 Resurrected. We have just enough strength to wear our gear, and the gear bumps it up a lot higher. Then we have just enough dex to wear our gear, and then we have all the rest into vitality. We don't put any extra into energy. Now, because this generally is used to farm incredibly weak areas just on players 1 difficulty, I don't focus too much on resistances. I am not a person that has to cap out every single statistic if it doesn't matter for your build or for your farming. So for this particular build, you can see they're all in the mid 30s, and that's just where they fall, and I don't really worry about it too much. All right, now hopping over to the skill tree, we're going to be using swords to attack with. So we have BladeMaster, we're going to go ahead and max out, and then of course hit the 1-point wonders. We have increased stamina, we have iron skin, we have increased speed, and we have natural resistance. Now we hop over to the combat skills. This is a Zerker Barb, so we're using the skill Berserk. So it is capped out, and you see its synergies are Howl and Battle Orders. Now above this, we just got 1 into Bash, 1 into Stun, and 1 into Concentrate, and those are just in order to get down to Berserk itself. Now we hop over to War Cries. Now this is where a lot of the points are going to go. First of all, we do go ahead and cap out Battle Orders. It boosts up your health a ton, and it also is a synergy for Berserk. Now the other synergy for Berserk is actual Howl, but I ended up not capping it out because there just kind of aren't enough skill points left over on this particular build. You don't necessarily need the extra radius on Howl. You do actually use Howl all the time, and actually the extra damage from Berserk, if you're running it on players 1 for the type of stuff that I'm doing it for in the pits and out for like Pindle, it's not going to be a huge deal not to have the absolute max cap out damage. And that specifically is what this build is for, so it's not going to really matter that much. Now over on the find item, love this skill, incredibly OP, and you see the current skill level, the perfect % chance of finding another item. After you use battle commands down here, you go ahead and bump that up, and it's going to be even a little bit higher. Battle commands, battle orders, and Howl and find item are all skills over here that we go ahead and use. But you see on the find item, I actually did not max it out. My current base skill level is only 4, but it has that find potion synergy. So actually I went ahead and dumped 20 points into find potion, because you get 1% per level, and each individual extra point you put into find item doesn't even give you 1% higher. So you actually get more bang for your buck for that 1 point into find potion. Now you'll see over on the side where I put the example gameplay, kind of the frequency of the way that you rotate around these skills using Howl to scare away all the monsters. You obviously battle orders and battle command is you're getting the skill levels and the extra health, but you howl with the monsters, you hit them with Berserk, and then you come over and use the find item skill on their body, giving you that extra chance to find those crazy, insanely rare unique items here in Diablo 2 Resurrected. Now the part most interesting, most everybody loves to see, and we're taking a look at the gear. Now there are like 10 different variations depending on what gear you want to use, what gear you can get your hands on. This is a very, very, very good version, but there are definitely other versions. I'm going to mention maybe a couple of examples for different gear pieces in different places, but by no means am I going to mention them all, because like I said, depending on where you get certain things, you can totally change around a ton of gear. So on this side, I have a little bit of a budget version, but it's only like 5% less good or whatever than the best possible end game, and I didn't really feel like wasting my time getting the gear and tracking it down, all that stuff. So I have dual suicide branches, and this is the side that I teleport on. That kind of gives away that this character has Enigma as the armor. But so here we have 50 faster cast rate here and here, and plus we get a 1 to skill, so that's a benefit to getting an extra percentages on your find item skill if you're going to go ahead and use your find item with this particular hand, your offhand. And also it goes ahead and helps out your battle orders and battle command a little bit there. So since we have 50 and 50, there's 100 FCR, and then we get another 5 or more FCR from a barbarian caster amulet. All caster amulets get 5% or higher cast rate. So if you make anyone that gets 2 to skills for a barbarian, they're always going to have that extra. And this is a pretty darn good example of one you want to look for a find item you know, Berserker, Barbarian. Now up on the helmet, I went ahead with the Shaco. Depending on how your gear swaps around, you could throw on the Ariat's face. Completely acceptable as well. I decided to go with the higher magic find version right here. Also on our main hand, you're probably going to want to take a look at what we're actually attacking with. It's going to shock you none here what the main hand is. Berserk attack with one hand. So we're using the Grief Phase Blade right here. I know this is not rolled very good. I already know it's coming in the comments. It is what it is. Now on the opposite hand, there's many different options. I just went with the 2-isted Phase Blade. So with the level 93 character, I have like 153 magic find on this one particular item. You could go with the 6-isted Phase Blade or Crystal Sword, or an option that was brought up by my chat that I somehow didn't think of. Actually, if you 5-ist a Rune Master, you can actually get, you know, 5-ists bring you 150 magic find, and you get cannot be frozen on your offhand item. So that's actually kind of a cool option. I thought about swapping to that, but then I didn't want to have to track down 5-ist runes at the point when I threw this together. And this is a very great option of what I got right here. Now, like I had said, for the armor, we got Enigma. You want to be able to teleport around. On top of that, you can run faster, and you get almost 100 magic find when you're up at those high levels. Jumping down to the gloves, Chance Guards, good magic find. So this is pretty much what you're going to want to have right here. And on the rings here, I got 2 Nagels. Depending on if you went with a dual Heart of the Oak version here, you might need to go ahead and put FCR rings here to make up to get to the 105 if you must get to that 105 breakpoint like I would prefer. Or there's another option. If you get cannot be frozen somewhere else, you can put Arachnid's Mesh right here. You get a skill and you get FCR, but instead I threw on the Triangle's Girth, and I got my cannot be frozen in the belt slot. Then we're hopping over to the boots. Once again, you can make up resistances here or life or whatever, but hey, for me, I want to stack even more magic find, so we got War Travelers. Now hopping down into inventory, because we're farming such easy areas, I just stacked up all 6 and 7% magic find small charms, getting our magic find incredibly high. Of course, we've got a Geeds, and we've got a Torch and Annie as well. Right down here, absolutely mandatory on every character. So taking a look at my mercenary setup, I went with the Act 2 Might Mercenary, so that does indeed boost up your damage, and obviously your mercenary is going to be killing stuff too. Actually kind of helps you out quite a bit on this particular build, to be perfectly honest. So it'll boost up his damage as well, getting that kill speed even faster. Now it's important to be teleporting around for a find item to have insight over here. Now I know you may think you want something to deal more damage. You could go with obviously an ethereal version, but I have a non-ethereal one right here. Ethereal would be even better for the weapon, but you definitely want to have that meditation or you'll run out of energy and mana all the time. Now I decided to switch it up a little bit. You could go with Andes on the top and then Fortitude on the armor. Perfectly acceptable. I went a little bit different here. I essentially have the setup you would have on a prayer mercenary for your Nova Sorceress. So I got a cure up here to get rid of auras faster, help out survivability. You have the cleansing aura that also gets rid of the poison faster. So that helps out with any of that survivability from those particular things. Then I got Chains of Honor over here because you need to have Life Leech somewhere on the Act 2 Mercenary to keep it alive. And on top of that, this has actually a ton of resistance, also keeping that Act 2 Mercenary alive as well. Now it's going to be interesting to look at the advanced stat page right here. We can see you actually get a bunch of extra gold find from the stuff you have on, but that's not the important thing. Over 700 magic find, slightly unnecessary because of the diminishing return on magic find, but the more magic find, the better chance you have of getting those unique items, even if it does only help slightly over like 400 or 500 anyways. So I'll scroll down super slow if you want to go ahead and take a look at all this stuff as I scroll over. And we switch to the offhand, the faster cast rate, which is actually right here, FCR 108. So 105 is that top breakpoint that you really want to get to here on this particular character. So we definitely have that on the teleport side. Don't forget to hit that like button before you go, and let me know down in the comments what type of variations of this, of gear and stuff like that, is your favorite. Peace out, fellas, and keep slaying.